Hello there friends, CS2 Live here. In today's video, the grand finals of PGL Cluj-Napoca. Yimp had gooning right before the matches. S1MPLE'S pretty peculiar stream recap. Donk said when he will end his esports career, and Device got sick right in the middle of the game. Well, and a lot of other exciting news from the world of CS2. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. As always, we're kicking things off with the latest news, and there's plenty to talk about. S1MPLE is back on the grind, streaming non-stop, like literally. And when I say actively, I mean that he streamed for almost 24 hours, a whole day. During this insane session, he played a ton of FACEIT games, and not even solo, but with a full squad. He teamed up with Mouz, Chopper, and YEKINDAR. But when those weaklings tapped out and went to sleep, he kept going, and even pulled in 23, who's currently playing for Imperial Female. But, well, nothing criminal here, because later on, S1MPLE got in the mood to play with his ex and started asking people to invite Arinyan.
Так, нам нужен кто-то один. Наташа, а Наташа хочет играть вообще?
Наташ, позови Арину, пожалуйста. Наташ, позови Арину. Все, спасибо, сейчас.
Кого?
Арину, Аринян, Бердникова, одинаковая фамилия. Ты что, не знаешь, что это? Пиздец, я бахаю, блядь.
Then OverDrive joined as well. Looks like S1MPLE is really bored during this break. And by the way, OverDrive tried to squeeze some information from him about his new contract, or the current one, but well, anyways, S1MPLE wasn't having it. He stayed silent like a rock.
Так. Сейчас контракт заканчивается.
Да еще надо подождать.
Ну, годик, да, до конца года.
Не
Вроде
знаю,
была информация.
Не знаю.
Ну, надо уже, а то стыдно смотреть.
We still didn't get the answer on when his contract ends, but at least we found out that he would rather have Donk on his team instead of ZywOo. That said, he quickly got bored of OverDrive's company, and then he went right back to talking about Arinyan.
Уже я бы Ариночку сейчас.
Что ты бы сейчас?
Бля, я забываю, что ты все время подслушиваешь.
And they did finally meet up, but not in the real life or even in CS. Instead, it happened in, oh god, forgive me, in Valorant. And as always, the toxic S1MPLE ended up in a little conflict with some random dude. He basically started explaining who he is and why arguing with him isn't the best idea. Overall, this whole day-long marathon delivered a ton of content. I mean, S1MPLE is pure showman. And you know what, with such a long stream even, Perfecto had time to drop by in chat and wish him a good morning, so to speak. By the way, guys, remember in one of our last episodes we talked about Perfecto, YEKINDAR, and nafany forming a stack. Back then they tried to qualify for closed qualifiers of PGL Bucharest, but they didn't make it. Well, just the other day they pulled it off. Playing alongside Alpha and Artfrost, the squad went undefeated and absolutely steamrolled Alliance in the finals. Now they're heading to the closed qualifiers, and I mean, we guys are on the verge of seeing a full-fledged comeback of Perfecto, YEKINDAR, and nafany. If they manage to qualify for the main event, I wouldn't be surprised if someone picks them up right away. But honestly, they've got a brutal road ahead, 32 teams fighting for a single spot. It's gonna be a bloodbath. Let's wish them luck. And while the veterans, the OGs, are fighting to get back to Tier 1, today's rising stars are already thinking about retirement. In a video with Shock, Donk explained that he wants to end his career around 30 years old, and then he wants to become a coach. I mean, the guy is only 18 years old now, and he's already talking about hanging up the Mouz. Donk also shared his thoughts on the so-called protege from the team Spirit, Kyosuke, and whether he's ready for Tier 1. Here's what Donk said. It's hard to say right now, but I think Max will adapt quickly. Mechanically, he can definitely handle tier 1 or at least tier 1.5. Yeah, my friends, there's more and more buzz around the Team Spirit Academy's star, rising star, another one. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kyosuke in a tier 1 or a tier 1.5 team this summer after the major. Maybe on loan, maybe on transfer. It doesn't really matter. He's got the talent and he's got the ambitions, so we'll see. And now we can fully move to the final day of PGL Cluj-Napoca. But before the grand finals, we had the battle for the 3rd place. Some players admitted before the match that it didn't really matter for them, but if they won, it would be just like a nice bonus. More prize money and some extra Valve ranking points. Guys, by the way, if you can tell me in the comments below which tournament last year had a battle for the 3rd place, I will note you in the next video. Anyways, it was Astralis, who could have thought, against FaZe Clan. And the first map, Mirage, was long, and when I say it, I mean it. 52 rounds combined on map 1. The game went for so long that Device actually started feeling unwell, bad enough that they almost had to call an ambulance. They even had to pause the match to make sure the Astralis star didn't get carried out for real. Luckily, everything turned out to be fine. After this tough loss on Mirage, 52 rounds once again, the Danes pulled themselves together miraculously and then just closed out FaZe Clan on the next 2 maps. Huge respect to Device, and even Cadian gave him props. He started feeling bad in the middle of Mirage, but still managed to play the whole series. Cadian, please take care of Device, he's a good guy. After the match, OverDrive summed up FaZe's current situation, and his take wasn't exactly optimistic, but also it was kinda logical. So according to OverDrive, FaZe's time at the top is running out. This will likely be Kerrigan's last season, and replacing one of the best IGLs in the world won't be easy. Meanwhile, Rain has repeatedly mentioned that he wants to step away from esports to focus on family. As for Brokey, his form has dipped significantly. And with Robs gone, the pressure is now on him to put up big numbers, and it's clear that he's struggling to deliver. But still, I have to note that Elige looks just fine. He fit in perfectly. But let's not dwell on the sad stuff about FaZe Clan for too long. So during the FaZe vs G2 match that happened the other day, Kerrigan was caught up hyping up his teammates, and he said something like this.
It's fine, we get paid by the round, boys. It's all good. Extra bonus this month.
And considering the Astralis match, the statement feels even funnier. Once again, 52 rounds on Mirage, crazy stats. Looks like Kerrigan and the boys might have just earned themselves a year's salary. Another hilarious moment came from Impat before the grand finals, because he somehow ended up reposting an adult video through his Twitter page, most likely by an accident. And that was still pretty funny, and my respect to Impat, because he basically acknowledged what he's done. But honestly, this isn't the first time something like this happened in CS. Remember when Jaime, after winning the major, casually talked in an interview about the benefits of, well, handling business before official matches, because he thinks that it helps keep your game under control. And I guess Imp had followed in the footsteps. It helped him a lot, but we'll talk about it a little later, after we finish with the news. One more thing we wanted to highlight is that Valve finally decided to refine their ranking system, and miraculously it's now more transparent and understandable. New teams have an easier path to breaking into Valve's top rankings, and several loopholes have been patched. Let's quickly go over the key changes. Now, if a team forfeits a match, it will count as a regular loss instead of a technical defeat. Basically, no more stuff like Imperial Female done. Also, rankings will now only update after tournaments, not during them. This means we won't see situations like Gamer Legion missing out on Blast because their prize money from IEM Katowice wasn't counted in time. Now, the minimum number of matches required to enter the ranking has been lowered from 10 to 5. And also, the whole model now includes club share payouts. For example, when a TO pays for MVPs and all that. And now guys, we're done with the news part. Don't forget to drop by in the comments below to discuss what happened during the last week. Finally, we can move on to PGL Cluj-Napoka Grand-finals. And oh my god, it was one hell of a show. Let's watch. First, we might have just found who's NIKO'S biggest fan is. She even had a beer foam crown. Let's just hope that the supplies will last until the end of the final. So this is the first ever final for both the revamped Falcons and Mouz teams. NIKO is locked in, hungry for victory. He's been in the top form throughout the tournament, especially in the playoffs, dropping some insane numbers in the quarterfinals and proving himself against FaZe. And now he's just one step away from the trophy. Interestingly, these two faced each other earlier in the tournament, with Falcons taking the win, but this time it's a best of 5, a battle of endurance. Only the strongest will come out on top. For both teams, there's only one goal, the trophy. Falcons are confident in their chances, and Kyosuke made that clear. We've been playing together for 2 months now, we've had plenty of time to prepare for a best of 5, we just need to play like we always do. So first map, Dust 2, and the Falcons take control with ease. TaZ's start the show with a crisp headshot, and another one, and Dexter takes another one with ease. And they dominate so hard that Sershin and Yibhad had no choice but to run for their lives. But then Mouz just said, whatever you can do, we can do better, and they completely shut down them on the first buy. Falcons didn't even make it to the side, they just got mowed down on the ramp. So this back and forth couldn't last forever, and eventually Torji, aka the sharpshooter, took matters into his own hands. A clean quadro. Mouz pushed to 4-2 and looked set to take the next round as well, but if you thought Falcons were giving up, you were dead wrong. Just look at Magisk. He just danced around B and he clutched it. But after that, things started falling apart. And you know what, Falcons were doing everything right. They found clean openings, they read their opponent's aggression, but when the enemy keeps just one-tapping you instantly, there's not much you can do. At this point, aim was the only thing holding Falcons back. Tactically, they were solid, but they were just not winning the duels. So Mouz took the first map 8-4, and now Falcons had to win the pistol round to stay in it. And just in time, Nikola Kovac stepped up. Alright, now they need to win the gun round, flip the game and take their own map. But, well, nothing went according to the plan. They lost the first buy, the second buy, the third, well, every single round. What happened to Magisk? Where was NIKO? I didn't understand. Just the other day, NIKO was single-handedly shutting down anyone in his way, and Magisk was at least doing a great job with his solid frags. But today, no KD for NIKO and no hits for Magisk. So Mouz take the first map 13-6 and let's move on. Honestly, it was way too early to count Falcons out. There are at least 2 maps ahead, so let's move on to Mirage. Once again, Falcons kick things off by winning the pistol round, and this time they even converted into a successful gun round. Then another one, and Falcons were completely tearing Mouz apart. But surely Mouz won't just roll over and get swept in a grand final, right? At 5-0 it looked like Falcons were about to lock in for a guaranteed 6th, but Spinks had other plans. He'd been charging up his mana this whole time. Look at this beauty. But against a fully unleashed NIKO, finally, there was no real counterplay. That 2v4 was just a minor hiccup for Falcons. Mouz simply couldn't outduel the beast. And to make things worse, TaZ's was in the zone as well. Honestly, I had no idea what Mouz could have done to even look competitive against NIKO and TaZ's. Every single player who picked them was just instantly turned into a spectator. By the end of the map, NIKO and TaZ's had dropped a combined 42 frags. NIKO had 130 ADR and TaZ's had 111. Final score 13-4 for Falcons. I mean, Mouz were in trouble here. They seemed to just woke up to monsters. But whatever version of NIKO we saw in Mirage has completely vanished on Nuke. Falcons started strong, they won the pistol round, but then they just collapsed. They lost the force buy, and then in the first weapon round they failed to check Spinks's boost, handing him one of the easiest triples of his career. With most of the crowd cheering for Falcons, the fans just decided to build a tower out of beer cans to support NIKO'S morale. But either he switched to something stronger, or maybe it just wasn't his favorite brand, I don't know, because it didn't help at all. The first half ended 9-3, and just look at these Falcons stats. Magisk 2-8, Kixen 3-10, and 2-10 for NIKO. I mean, the Bosnian bro just played one of the best maps of his career, and now 20 minutes later he's putting up numbers like this. But if you're gonna claw your way back into the game, might as well do it in style. And if anyone knows how to make a statement, it's Nikola Kovac. I can't believe this, Falcons are actually starting to come back. NIKO popped off in the pistol round, and Daxter stepped up huge in the first buy round. Daddy Abdul is finally awake. He clutched a crucial one, pushing Falcons to 9-6. And he's not stopping. The new clutch minister himself is closing the gap. Mouz needed to act fast, or what looked like an easy win on Nuke is about to slip away completely. Their sniper Torji barely clutched a 1v1 against Tassus, and he only had like 6 HP left. Anyways, thanks to Torji, Mouz reached 11 rounds, and then they just pushed it to the map point. Although Falcons were right behind them, 12-11. This is it, the defining moment. Either the comeback happens or it all falls apart. And just like that, the gunning Imhat had been just quiet all the game, stepped up in the most important round of the day. A massive triple. Mouz take Nuke. They're now one map away from lifting the trophy. Now we're on to Ancient, which might just be the final map. It kicks off with Rene Tassus Madsen with a beautiful triple. Then NIKO took over, he dropped his second ace of the day. He basically farmed stats against a NIKO, but hey, after that disastrous Dust 2 and horrible Nuke, he needed it. First weapon round on Ancient. Falcons are back in full force. But, well, Sershan, what a monster. The guy single-handedly wiped out the entire squad with a quadro. Mouz are cruising ahead with 0 issues. It feels like everything is just going their way, by luck, by gods of CS. At 5-3, Kexen got the worst timing possible. Spinks just slipped into the side and took out Tassus, eventually clutching round 6. Then came round 7, and well, Mouz were just unstoppable. Although Falcons managed to fight back, and they closed out the half 7-5. At this point, all Falcons needed to do was to somehow drag this series to the 5th map. No idea how, but they just can't let Ancient slip away. Because if they do, well, Mouz haven't played Train at all, which means NIKO has a real shot at winning this. But to make it happen, they need to start winning rounds. And the situation is okay, second pistol round on Ancient. Sershan and Torji are left in a 2v4. Falcons have everything in their favor. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Absolutely everything. So the trophy is slipping through NIKO'S fingers. Falcons just can't close out Ancient. Mouz are pushing, pressing, suffocating them. There was a chance to turn things around with Magic's clutching immensely, but not today. Mouz are now on a tournament point, but Falcons are not done yet. They win one round and then Magic's goes nuclear. Solo, he clears out the entire A side. He drags his team to 12-9. And now we're staring down at the most important weapon round for Falcons. Either they win it and push the game to overtimes, or this is just another second place finish for NIKO. Let's watch. Congratulations, Mouz, they are the champions of PGL Cluj-Napoca 2025. For the first time in this roster's history, they've lifted a trophy in front of a massive crowd. They've finally overcome their fear of the big stage, and from now on, nothing can hold them back at future events. This is a huge moment for every Mouz player. Well, I guess except for Spinks, because he's been there more than once. And yeah, I guess gooning before the finals actually works. Well done, Yimphat. Meanwhile, Niko takes the MVP award. He's first with Falcons and the 9th of his career. He finished the tournament with a 1.27 rating, delivering an incredible performance in the playoffs, but today he just was missing in key moments. After the match, he took the blame for the loss, admitting that he just couldn't bring the best game on Ancient. That being said, Falcons put up a solid fight. I honestly didn't expect them to make it this far, let alone compete in the grand finals. But if we put things into perspective, second place at Cluj-Napoca is the best results in Falcons' org's history. If they keep improving, they'll soon become a real contender that nobody will be laughing at anymore. My friends, thank you for watching. Make sure to follow us on Twitter for even more updates. And obviously don't forget to hit the like button, to drop by in the comments below, and to follow our channel. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time, my friends. See you soon.